frankly shocking. It's shocking that there weren't other Americans in the Oval Office with the Russians and the president, but that's about all the vantage point I have on it.
Take us into the room with you when you're meeting with President Trump. Let's choose the time that he invited you to dinner. You hoped others would be there. But you see the table set just for two, it's just the two of you. He starts by complimenting you and then goes into the stream of consciousness monologue. You see he spoke in terms. Give us a sense of what he was saying.
Well, yeah, that's a dinner from January the 27th, which was a Friday, at the end of his first full week as president. And my assistant called and said the president was calling for me. And he called and said, "You want to come over for dinner tonight?" And I said, "Certainly, sir. It's up to you." And he said, "How's 6 or 6:30?" And then he fixed on 6:30. And I said, "Certainly, sir." And I went that evening to the White House. I was very concerned after that phone call because it's an extraordinary thing for the President of the United States to socialize alone with the Director of the FBI, given the way in which the FBI and our entire country has tried to keep that organization separate from the presidential power and politics since Watergate. So I was very nervous about it. I was reassured, though, when I saw Jim Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence, later that day, who assured me there must be others at the dinner. So I thought it would be a group dinner, probably with other leaders of the president just trying to get to know people. I show up at the White House and stand in the doorway to the green room, just chatting with two Navy stewards. And I look into the green room, and the furniture's all been moved off to the sides, and there's a small oval table in the center with just two place settings. And I can see from my vantage point that the one closest to me says Director Comey. So suddenly I know it's a one-on-one, which was very concerning because of the norm that I described. The president arrives, we sit down, and he makes very clear right at the beginning that the purpose of this is for me, in essence, to ask for my job, which was bizarre because he had several times in previous conversations over the prior 3 weeks said he hoped I was going to stay and really looked forward to working with me. None of that was acknowledged, and the conversation begins with him saying, in substance, "So what do you want to do? Meaning, do you want through the
Hello, friends. Welcome back to Saturday Evenings Posted Mostly Presents with me, your host, Trevor Stewart, 1308, and we are here with the Peanut Gallery and Kat, the ASOC Prod. Hi, guys.
Hello.
And today's pre-rolls, as always, brought to you by The Hidden Leaf, downtown Charlottesville, 105 West Main Street. Above the Bricks, Suite 200. A great place to go with some great buds. Get some great buds, bud, and the only thing better than their bud is their customer service. Also, they do have the lowest prices in town, according to my own highly biased research, by which I mean I was incredibly high during my biased research. We will be discussing some. Don't forget to check the website for times and events such as Frosty Fridays, starting at 6 p.m. on Fridays, where you can find our other sponsors, Firehouse and the Kush Gang. There we go. The website is thehiddenleafcville.com. That's thehiddenleafcville, all one word, .com. And, of course, we are going to be covering some political subjects today, and these are businesses. Our opinions do not necessarily reflect their opinions. All the opinions you hear today are held by us, the channel, or whoever happens to be expressing said opinion. They are not necessarily held by any of our sponsors. That's who I forgot to send an invite out to. Forgot to inform the Kush Gang that we were going today. Let me try and do that right now.
So you're saying you need a little more cushion?
I always need a little more cushion. There we go. All right, so. Oh, and that's the other thing. Well, last time I stopped by Frosty Fridays, Kush Gang had a new flavor of Kush juice, and it's in the fridge right now, and I forgot to go grab it. So, possibly, right? Possibly after I finish this first pre-roll, I might go grab it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, other than the world being hilariously on fire around us, how are you guys doing so far since last we met?
I live.
I'd say that's better than the alternative, but
The world's on fire.
right. I feel bad. We missed 2 episodes of Marketplace, and they were 2 episodes that were talking about the stuff that I'm trying to learn about. We're talking about interest rates, and the and some of the return for the longer term bonds. The bond market. That's what I was looking for. They were talking about the bond market. So, but that's okay. I have a feeling that they will talk, pardon me, talk more about it again.
My problem with that is the more you talk about bondage, the more my rate of interest drops.
All I'm saying is investing wisely in restraint. I mean, with restraints.
I didn't start this one. You opened that part of the door all on your own, so I didn't start this one.
You didn't start the fire?
Absolutely not. I'm going to go make tea. I'm going to leave you to the device of your own making.
No, we will, interest or interest? Aha. Uh-huh. Hi, Maddie. Great to see you. Thank you for stopping by. I'm glad you did stop by, actually. I've been watching Allo Allo. And, with a view, with an eye towards what you told me to look out for, I enjoy it. I think that the infantilization of fascists walks both a fine line of being hilarious and being dangerous to downplaying them. I know you can't, and I can understand that. It is. I can understand why people don't get into it. Yes, it is also that generation with the trauma humor response, much like Hogan's Heroes. It feels very much almost like a British version, or a British version of Hogan's Heroes set in France. There are definitely high camp, yes, high camp, and the gay character, that is you can't stand shtick and high camp. And I love shtick and high camp. It was what I was brought up to do and love. But I can understand not liking that. It's sort of like how I really don't like cringe humor. you know, especially sort of the Larry David, Jerry Seinfeld kind of cringe humor. Yes, that is very much the UK style, like, are you being served and keeping up appearances? And at the time that those shows were being made, there were cultural differences to now, and I'm finding I'm being able to pick out some very problematic stuff and go, ooh, that just would not fly today. Don't like shtick or high camp. I'm guessing s'mores are out of the peanut gallery. One show I might like if I want to delve into World War II British humor, Dad's Army aged incredibly well, with some not great stereotypes and biases. Womp womp. You know, I will give Dad's Army a try. I will give it a try. Yeah. Well, at some point we will get deeper into, it got sillier as the show went on. Ooh, good. I like that. At some point we will get into a discussion about British humor, and especially British humor of that time frame. Maddie, what of that era? Out of that era, what do you like? And not necessarily out of that era in British humor, but in American humor, in humor in general. What did you like? I like getting a feel for what other people find funny. It helps me understand. Okay. It helps me get a grasp on what's good for general humor. I forgot to warn Darth Dragonis that we're on today. Oh well. All of this being said, we do have a couple of funny spots in the show today. It is not all serious fear-mongering about what the president is doing right now, or who that Winsome Earl Seers is. Monty Python? Monty Python, I don't think Monty Python is super basic. Blackadder, love Blackadder. It's very, very intellectual. A lot. I find as Blackadder went on, the jokes got more intellectual. Monty Python is a study in humor. Yes. Yes. It is, in the sense that it is definitive British comedy and definitive British humor. Yes, it is super basic. But it's also supposed to be that. And a case study in absurdist humor, as you said. Peanut Gallery. Yeah, I can see. I mean, it's also basic in that everybody likes it, but everybody likes it because it's good. Now, not all of it is good, and not all of them are good people. And as I watch back, some of the stuff about men in dresses isn't so much comedy as it is derision. And so some of that worries me, but the only way you'll get every joke in Monty Python is to have a British private school Oxbridge education and a whole lot of drugs. Yup.
The only reason why I would say Monty Python is basic is because it did so well, it became so pervasive that it became the baseline.
Yes. And to repeat an old adage, there is a reason pop music is popular. Does anybody here remember You Can't Do That on Television?
I don't know.
Well, at least he didn't say water.
What's the burger of the day?
Huh?
Tea. I'm getting tea. That's the verb of the day.
No, I said, what's the burger of the day?
Oh.
Smash.
Duh, I heard that.
So no, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Their opening sequence. Waste not, want that. Their opening sequence was directly influenced by the animations of Monty Python. Still can't eat Brussels sprouts. I have, yeah. I ain't a fan of them, but yeah. There was something to be said for purely rebellious cultural phenomenon. Your first introduction to Canadian humor. Okay. I don't know what my first introduction to Canadian humor was. I have a feeling it was...
Bacon, that's obviously a joke.
Yeah, Kids in the Hall. No, SCTV. Second City TV was my first introduction to Canadian humor. That was... and it was all of the comedians that my parents liked. So I was a lot more allowed to watch that in my household. They didn't stop me from watching You Can't Do That on Television. But my father, there's a good word to describe this, but I can't come up with it. He did not want me to be perceived as a Philistine. So, lowbrow humor was perceived suspiciously in the house. Although there was plenty of lowbrow humor in the house. So I don't quite... I'm still working on why the sort of lowbrow humor that I liked was less acceptable, but...
It wasn't their choice.
I think it was also because it featured the children being sort of being disrespectful. While there was an attempt to teach me to question authority, that was balanced against whose authority I was supposed to respect.
And that's always the wonderful
God.
BS tipping point on that.
Yeah, it is. It is. I don't trust anyone who doesn't like the Three Stooges. I love the Three Stooges. It is such toxic humor, and I'm there for it.
Yeah, wings guy.
Mo, Larry, cheese! Mo, Larry, cheese! Mo, Larry, cheese! I mean, now, there is also a family, there's also a family connection there. And I believe it was that my grandfather went to elementary school with Larry.
Are you sure it wasn't his brother Daryl?
Or the other brother, Daryl?
Mo Howard. No, my dad was not Mo Howard. Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. This is my... Hi, I'm Larry. This is my brother Daryl. This is my other brother Daryl. You know, I love that he went on to play the toy maker in... or actually came from playing the toy maker in Blade Runner to doing that. Like, yeah, E.B. Farnham too. Oh my God, his role as E.B. Farnham. I feel like E.B. Farnham got some of the standout monologues. E.B. was left out. E.B. was left out. And that actor just did such an amazing job of playing that character to its fullest, to his fullest. Larry finally got his own hotel. Oh my God. That never hit me. That never occurred to me. Larry finally got his own hotel.
I mean...
Yeah. All right. Let's herd these cats back into the news. This has been an enjoyable a bit of chaos about comedy. Let's get into the chaos that is the news. So we're starting with the Intel responds after Donald Trump says U.S. is getting a 10% stake. This is, you know, we covered this a bit on Marketplace earlier when we were a couple of days ago when we were talking about how fascism favors like Pokemon. Who's got to collect them all? Exactly. So yeah, he basically strong-armed Intel and what was the other one?
No, Intel's the only one that he's buying into, as far as I'm aware of.
Oh. Okay. Well, anyway. So
it was NVIDIA and AMD that did the thing where they're doing profit sharing with the U.S. government for their sales in China.
Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, so basically Trump went up to Intel and said, be ashamed if something happened to your company.
Yep.
Oh, be ashamed if something happened to your CEO. So President Trump said Friday that Intel will give U.S. government a 10% stake in the company as an agreement he said followed a meeting last week with CEO Bhutan, just days after Trump called for Tan's resignation over his past ties to China. I said, I think it would be good having the United States as your partner, Trump said. He agreed, and they've agreed to do it. Wow. Wow, that feels like... Man. Nice company you got here.
It was a shame if something happened to your CEO.
Right. Jeez. Intel said in a statement that the government's planned stake in the company will be a passive investment with no board seats or special governance rights. The government agreed to vote in line with Intel's board on shareholder matters, except in limited circumstances, the company said. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah. That whole they can't vote without us bit is meant to be reassuring, but it screams so much of just no.
No. Oh man. So time to invest in AMD. Yeah. Although you're still, even if you invest in AMD, you're still giving some of that money to Trump. Well, no, I guess not. Trump was always sullen over the fact that he was not included in the mobs. So he's started his own. Yup. You know, yes, Maddie, I do remember when the conservatives were about limited government and hostile to nationalizing private industry. Nah, you didn't want to be in the mafia. Not really. Right.
No mob boss would let him be like the biggest, bestest ever.
Right.
Maybe we can convince him to go join.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it is.
Hey,
no gang
Chris.
had colors of orange and red, so he started his own.
Yeah.
He's a point man for different mafia groups. That is true. He's sort of a mafia hype man. Oh. Okay. He was a pass-through money launderer. Nice.
I would have to disagree with that last one. Because he would have made money on that. None of his business ventures have made money.
Oh, that hurts. But that's true, too. Do you like to read books? I mean, yeah. No. The failures were designed to money launder. Oh. See, that... Well, I don't think he's smart enough to pull that off. I do think his handlers are. Which makes me think of the producers. Not saying he was successful. I know I've seen Goodfellas, but it was a long time ago. When they stayed in that tiki bar. I don't remember it. I don't remember it that well. I'll have to watch that part again.
I don't think I've seen it this century.
This millennia, even. Payout. They stayed in the tiki bar and then rode it into the ground, then lit the bar on fire to get the last arson insurance payout. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is what they're doing. It's private equity. They're pulling a private equity on the United States. They are squeezing it for all of its resources, everything they can make out of it. They're dismantling it, taking it apart. And he's being the figurehead while they do it, and getting some of the, but really, at the end, he's gonna be, if their plan is to work the way they see it to work, he's gonna be the dictator over a ruined country. Timothy Snyder's The Road to Unfreedom is a fantastic book about Trump's past and connections with Putin. All right. I'll have to look into that. Thank you. So well, the struggling Silicon Valley chipmaker is in the processing of jettisoning more than 20,000 workers as part of its latest attempt to bounce back from years of missteps under a variety of CEOs. The deal follows Monday's disclosure that Japan's SoftBank Group is building a 2% stake in Intel, which is valued at just over $100 billion. The shares have rebounded notably in recent months despite border challenges facing the chipmaker. Stock is roughly up 26% year to date. All right. There are a few other players. Heritage Foundation with the Koch brothers had a few old moneyed interests. Yeah. Elon, Tech Bros, and the hardcore religious right, which are slowly being strangled out without them realizing. Yes. And they're sticking with it. The religious right are sticking with him because he's dismantling the left and winning the culture war. They're a different religious right flavor. They really are. Fred Sock with Leonard Leo and Opus Dei. Huh. I'll have to look into that, too. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there. It is... while we fall into fascism, our economy, our economic structure is being stripped. And social matters, social issues are taking precedent for voters over survival issues. Or at least that seems to be what the right is banking on. What the left is hoping for, it seems like, in this next election cycle, starting here in Virginia and up in New Jersey, is we are looking for people to look to their own interests. I forgot we weren't on that one. We're looking for people to try to look to their own interests before voting about other people's social positions. The past conservative SCOTUS justices, after Roberts got in, all got passed first by Fred Sock on top of most, if not all, have ties to Bush v. Gore and got that position by helping Bush get his presidency. Aha!
Mm-hmm.
That falls into place.
Mm-hmm.
A few more puzzle pieces fall into place. So I feel like we've covered that. We'll keep you up to date if we find out anything new.
Personally,
All
I'm
of
really
this-
hoping that things are difficult enough dealing with this that when we get a new president, that this is something that gets reversed and they go, yeah, this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
I doubt they.
Well, I don't know. I think the big, beautiful bill. Oh, it's hard to say. The problem is that most of it can't be reversed once you lose the losses and the people. Yeah, that is true. And I think that this big, beautiful bill is starting to cost enough regular people enough money that yeah, that is true. I hope the real damage isn't done yet. We're barely at the top of that slope. That's true too. I don't think we're at a point of no return. I think that we are, if we pull together, if we all put in effort, if we all pull together, if we all look at this and go, this is a bad idea, we can still reverse course and save some things. Save a lot of things. They've pushed everything to hit after the midterms. Yeah. Except I think some of it is starting, like, some of the damage is starting to... Hey, I'll take that mystical witch statue. That's pretty cool. I think some of this is starting to hit. As Brock was saying the other day, you know, there is... Anecdotally, there is a much lesser number of Trump signs locally. Give it a week. Yeah. A lot of people seem to be backing up off of their support of Trump over the past few months. So it does seem to be, anecdotally at least, there seems to be progress. Once those tariffs really kick in, yeah, that's what's costing people money, and that's what's hurting, and that's what people are starting to notice. You know, we mentioned on Marketplace a bit ago that you know, the background supplies of stuff, the backup supplies, the warehouses are starting to empty out, and the new stuff is going to come up in price because of the fact that it's gotta be shipped in new now. We're out of the backup. So yeah. And as these prices rise, you know, more and more people are going to go, well, this isn't helping me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there are also some losses around the immigration stuff being too strong. There was too much arresting innocent people, deporting your innocent neighbors, the good ones, just to make quotas. And they're still doing it. And it's not sitting well with the people who were like, yeah, get rid of the bad ones. But he won't get rid of the ice cream, man. We currently have concentration camps. Yeah, we do. And they're trying to pen more in Nebraska and Texas. I don't like that.
They're
I don't
trying
like
to,
that.
but you do have a Florida judge trying to shut down that particular one.
That's good, at least.
Hmm.
That's good. Core Civic is currently at war with Leavenworth, Kansas, because the city won't let them reopen an abandoned prison. Yeah.
Because
As a
it was
prison.
abandoned for a reason.
Right?
Uh,
All right. Speaking of
Yeah.
Florida. All right, am
Actually,
I reading this right?
while we're still talking about Texas and everything else, you also have the
No.
you got the representative that has been held on the Texas Senate floor all week.
Oh yeah, that person.
Like,
Yeah, the only Leavenworth I saw was in movies.
they wouldn't let her leave. They were literally going to arrest her if she left. She wasn't
Right.
signing the permission slip to say that you can follow me to the bathroom.
Right.
Because that's what they were doing with every other person.
They held her in. I think they wanted her to make that point. I think they. I think they were looking for that fight so that they could take it up to the Supreme Court and start being allowed to arrest people without charging them with a crime.
Probably, but
Which is
I don't.
probably why it's a good thing that she didn't, force them.
Yeah,
It's a state issue, not a federal. It would go to the state Supreme Court, which I don't know what the Texas Supreme Court looks like, but I would not imagine it's good.
yeah. I'm really hoping that her particular lawsuit pans out.
Yeah.
I hope it pans out. I hope that it gets dealt with. I hope it gets made a big deal of, and that everything that they have done during that time gets added to it, and the people pulling this get whacked really hard upside the head for pulling this kind of thing.
Right. Is Legal Eagle covering it, do you know?
I do not know. Probably.
You wanna dedicate next week's show to it? If Legal Eagle, if we can find some stuff from like Legal Eagle and Leisha Miller and
We can check, but next week we've got that thing over at the courthouse that we were going to go to.
oh yeah, oh man, I gotta figure that out in a week.
Yep.
All right. Texas Supreme Court, 10-gallon hats on 3-ounce brains. Pretty much. Or at least that's what I'm assuming. So, now am I reading this right? Are Orlando officials actually coming out on the right side here? Orlando officials condemn removal of Rainbow Crosswalk near Pulse nightclub mass shooting site as a cruel political act.
The officials in Orlando, the actual city officials, yes, they are on the side of this was not okay.
Orlando officials on Thursday condemned the state's overnight removal of a rainbow crosswalk outside the Pulse nightclub, a commemoration of the 49 people killed at the LGBTQ-friendly nightclub in 2016, painting over one of the most important landmarks of the state's LGBTQ community is part of a larger attack on LGBTQ people by Governor Ron DeSantis and his administration, officials say.
Mm-hmm.
Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer said he was devastated by the removal of the Pulse Memorial Crosswalk. This callous action of hastily removing part of a memorial to what was at the time our nation's largest mass shooting without any supporting safety or discussion is a cruel political act, Dyer said in a post on Twix. The crosswalk was installed by the state in 2017 and adheres to national safety standards, Dyer added. The colorful crosswalk added visibility, making it safer for the large number of visitors to the memorial, he said. The removal comes only 2 months after the city marked the 9-year anniversary of the Pulse tragedy. On June 12, 2016, a gunman opened fire at the popular gay nightclub, making it the worst mass shooting in modern U.S. history at the time.
Wrong type of record for people to be trying to go after.
Yeah.
Right?
So, I'm not sure if you can see in that picture very well. But the community really did not take this well.
No, I imagine they did not.
I'm not sure if you can tell from that picture, but they colored everything back in with chalk as soon as they could.
I was wondering if that was chalk or if that was paint.
One of the biggest slams is the fact that effectively DeSantis sent the Florida Department of Transportation in the middle of the night to do this.
Yeah. Again, it shouldn't be... It should be alarming, but it shouldn't be surprising that they're doing things like this in secret, in the middle of the night, without consulting the public. These are fascist moves. These are, these are moves made to erase identity. And
they are.
These kinds of things are why, for people like myself, queer people like, well, pretty much everybody in this chat too, people who are just different, who are not part of the mainstream,
Look,
that's why everything in our lives ends up being political. Because if we don't make it political, we get erased.
Given the things that RFK has said, this includes not just anybody. It includes anybody that has any sort of mental health diagnosis other tan perfectly fine.
Right. And I love you guys, but I'm calling you both out on having
a whole bunch of alphabet letters that may or may not be added to us? Yes.
Yep, that's the one. I mean, I know I'm diagnosably insane anyway, but also I've got my alphabet of issues as well.
I have no idea what you're. Oh, squirrel.
Yes. That.
Ooh, shiny squirrel.
Yes. Yes. Given his comments, that is something he would love to see everybody locked up for, because that's not right.
Right.
So literally everybody in the chat.
Yeah. I mean, nobody here gets away safe from RFK. No. Even the brainworm died.
Especially after he takes away the vaccines.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Anyway,
how dislikable do you have to be that even your own brainworm is like, you know what? I can't take it anymore.
He'd only do a little bit more damage to the speech centers before he leaves.
Right? Shows you just how dislikable that guy is. Even his brainworm couldn't live long enough with the guy to complete his work.
Yeah.
Died of food poisoning.
Oh!
Yeah, that is exactly what happened.
I like that one.
What I was gonna say was the way they're getting around the whole "you didn't know this was going to happen, we didn't tell you," is the fact that they did supposedly do that whole thing back in March, telling everybody you had to do this. You have to make your crosswalks plain, black and white, take down stuff like that.
Okay.
No rainbows, no colors, but they gave a deadline. We have not reached the deadline yet.
Okay. But they're just going in and doing it anyway.
Yeah. There are other towns in Florida that had similar colorful crosswalks or colorful pieces of roadway that they bowed to this, and as early as June we're putting them back to street normal.
Okay.
But the deadline that they were given was in September. So they came in and did this weeks early. It's not a case of we told you and you didn't do it.
It's a case of they wanted this specific thing gone. They want these specific things erased as soon as possible. Which,
I don't know about the other ones, but if I remember correctly, with this one specifically, it was actually a state-approved memorial.
Yeah. They
not
mentioned
just a locally approved memorial. It was a state-approved memorial.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, Orlando officials are dealing with that.
Well, at least city officials are being.
The city officials are. The city officials had cops out there blocking off the crosswalk so that people could finish coloring it back in.
Nice.
Granted, there were a wall of people blocking the intersection as well, but
they didn't need the cops, but making the statement was appreciated.
There were cops there being useful.
Right.
See, it does happen on occasion.
On occasion, very rare occasion, yes.
Right. Not all cops are bastards all the time.
Oh, God.
Most of the time.
That brings up a
Sometimes.
clip from an old book.
Yes.
Husband and wife are at a ambassador type party where everybody has to be nice. And this one delegate had been very odious. So the wife is in the corner saying, muttering to herself how much she dislikes that man.
Mm.
And her husband wanders over to bring her a refreshment and see what she's learned information wise from everything. And they're talking, and she once again says how much she dislikes that man, and he says something to the effect of, dueling is illegal. I can't exactly call him out for being a bastard. He's like, I am a proper lady. I would never, ever say such a thing about someone. But, in passing, if you get a chance to introduce his father to his mother, please do so.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a Victorian burn right there. Oh, has
I know.
anybody introduced your father to your mother?
That
Ow.
is one.
Ow, bro. Ow.
That is one that I've carefully tucked away for in case I actually need it.
Oh, I'm gonna keep that one in the back pocket too. Although, I do have to watch out, because I was 5 at my parents' wedding. So.
True, but they at least knew each other, so that's not the issue.
That's not the issue, but I really am a bastard.
Yes, I've had people call me a bastard. It's like, no, my parents were married.
Right?
I
On the other side of that.
Look at me like, what? Like, look up the meaning.
Right. On the other
because
side
no
of
one
that.
knows what the meaning is anymore.
People have called me a bastard, and I've said, oh my goodness, were you at the Justice of the Peace that day?
Shh. Oh, Lord.
I remember
I have had some people. I have had some people question either me or my brother because in our parents' wedding picture, they're posed with this like 3 or 4-year-old kid, and they keep asking, "Is that one of you?" I'm like, no. Who is this random kid posing with your parents on their wedding day? It's like their boss's son. But the kid does look an awful lot like we did when we were the same age. Like, no, we were all born well after this picture was taken. That's just a random kid that snuck in with their parent because their parent was there.
Are you sure it was a random kid?
Pretty sure.
Sure it was the boss's son, not the boss's wife's son?
Pretty sure.
Alright, I'll stop suggesting things. We can move on.
Oh no, you can keep suggesting. It doesn't bother me. I mean, I've got 2 half-sisters I've never met, so...
That's fair.
If by chance there was another one wandering around out there that we didn't know about, it would not bother me. It'd be a case of, oh,
look. Dad was doing the boss's wife, too.
Mostly, though, it's the fact that this kid was old enough, like I said, 4 or 5, and Dad hadn't been in Arizona that long, so...
As far as you know. Bum, bum, bum. No,
This is true. This is true.
No, the math does not work out, so I'm there with you. It was just a random kid that looks a lot like your dad.
Didn't look like Dad, just looked like us.
Oh, looked like you. Random kid that looked like you. That's even creepier.
One of us.
Although
I
I am a victim of that myself. Like, there are a lot of people out there who look like me. Because I'm the definitive version. They all look like me.
Fair enough.
All right. Let's move on to the next story.
Yes. The next story.
Oh, yes. Some Winsome Earl Seers.
There's not a lot there.
In more ways than one.
Well, yeah, there's that. There have been some interesting controversies over protests this week. But the thing that I noticed going through her Ballotpedia page and other stuff like that is if she's ever held office anywhere before, there's not a lot of record of it.
Okay.
So you've got how she's really all you've got on her record wise is what she has done as the lieutenant governor of Virginia since she was elected in 22.
Okay. Well, what's her record been since 22?
That's where the local controversy comes up. The biggest thing that everybody is going on about is the fact that she did apparently, or has apparently said several times that she was either in favor of or was not making a comment about the various job cuts and other things that were happening. She was maintaining the Republican Party line.
Okay.
She has been trying to build more of a platform on school bathrooms and their proper usage.
That's a shitty thing to focus on.
It is. And that's where some of the
those bathroom bills just piss me off. It's better to be pissed off than pissed on.
Unless you're an R. Kelly fan.
Yeah, unless you pay extra for it. Then if you're pissed off, not pissed on, then you've been ripped off.
Yeah, there's no way I could have derailed that when y'all were too locked in.
It was gonna happen. But though it just,
It was a biological imperative.
it was.
Okay.
We needed to
So-
get that crap out of our system.
She's definitely running on the main Republican points, including,
Yeah.
making sure that school bathrooms are not accessible to anybody that doesn't belong in them, and this is the specific list of who doesn't belong in them, and anti-abortion and everything else. She had a speech or a rally or whatever. She had an appearance earlier this week that was protested by various people who not hold with her viewpoints. And it made national news because there was a lady in the audience protesting her specifically that had a sign that was it was offensive.
How so?
But the question is, was it rightly offensive?
How so? Like, what did it...
Her sign said that if trans kids can't use the bathroom, then you can't use my water fountain.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hammering home the connection.
It is.
I mean, it
It
is, but
is.
it's also not okay. I mean,
Apparently there were either other signs nearby or ones that were seen later that said it was never about the bathrooms, just like it was never about the water fountain.
see, that is a lot closer to it. That's okay. That
Yeah.
it was claiming to be part of the it was
Like I said, it was
and
offensive.
I'm not even sure that no, making that connection is important, I think.
Yes.
Claiming yourself as being part of that connection is not a great idea.
No.
Because that really does sort of that brings it to this you're demonizing black people again in that moment.
Exactly.
You're dehumanizing black people, which is not helpful to the trans community.
No.
Especially not helpful to the black trans community.
No.
Pointing out the second version of the sign seems a lot less problematic.
I would say that the second version of the sign is what really needs to be pointed out.
Yeah.
And it shows that there was a better way to say this.
Yes.
But I am not sure if we would have gotten that rework and that second thing.
Had somebody not made that first mistake?
Yeah, if someone hadn't said that and made that direct comparison, even if they stupidly put themselves in on it like that, if someone hadn't said that out loud, a couple hundred people could hear it. I don't think we'd have gotten the second version.
Oh man,
if you would have kept the Nazi versions.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of people make that connection, and it keeps being brought up that this is what was done prior to the takeover.
Right. Now, it's the fact that Winsome Earl Seers is a black woman. Like,
yeah.
That, and then associating that with the Jim Crow South, with that apartheid, with the American apartheid, is just skin-crawlingly cringe. How did they not see that?
See that it was cringe?
Yeah, who let them go out like that? What friends need to be dope slapped for letting someone go out in public like that?
I am thinking that you had a group of very angry people that were not actually thinking about it at the time. As far as who is being slapped over that, currently they are trying to slap George Soros over it because apparently he funded part of the protest, not necessarily the person involved with this sign.
I mean,
it's not like he paid for the paint and board for her to make this sign, but because he had some sort of financial involvement with something that happened there, they're trying to yell at him for it.
Of course. I'm sure that Soros...
Why can't we just yell at Musk and Bezos and all of them for all their supports?
Because According to the people who are yelling, they're supporting, well, Bezos. Musk is no longer free of recrimination. Free from recrimination.
Oh no. All the rebates on his electric vehicles are about to go away in like 2 weeks.
Okay. Yes, but it's only if you actually put money down and sign the paperwork after that. Like, you have the next 2 weeks to put money down and sign paperwork. You do not have to get your keys in hand in the next 2 weeks.
This is true. It's true.
I don't know if they managed to claw money back that they already spent on NPR.
True. But
quite literally already spent, already given to them.
No, it was promised. It wasn't given. It had been promised. It hadn't been given. I don't think they clawed money back that they'd actually given. This was money that had been promised by Congress to fund the next broadcasting, which is why NPR had like a month left of funding when it happened.
Yeah.
And then people have been, thank goodness, people are stepping up and donating, and everybody out there listening should be a donator to NPR. Let me belabor that point. We still need to figure out how to do those what's that word? Charity streams.
Yeah.
Because when we do the marketplace stream, I'd like to start doing it at 6, but we'll see. We'll see how I pull it off. We'll see if I can get this to work. But we should be donating to NPR from those and from, of course, our Sunday streams. Because NPR is now without federal funding. I mean, they started without federal funding. I think I think all of my childhood, they didn't have federal funding. It was all, all public donations, which was amazing. But definitely, they wouldn't have had the ability to grow as much as they have if they hadn't had that federal funding.
Yeah.
All right, so this is where we're at with Winsome, Earl, Seers, huh?
Mm-hmm. There's not a lot. There's no record that we can look at specifically and click links on and say, okay, so they had this vote and she voted this way. All we've got are basically hit or miss news reports on what she's done in the last 2 years. 3 years.
Okay. And she's pretty solidly just towed the political line.
Yeah, she's definitely following the whole Republican thing.
Okay, now, there is in the Republican Party currently a bit of a schism that has, oddly enough, though it's a national level event, has played out locally. So it turns out that the dismissal of the UVA president has little to do with DEI initiatives at UVA.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact has to do with this Republican infighting between, well, the two factions are between Youngkin and, oh gosh, the vice president's name escapes me all of a sudden. J.D. Vance.
Oh, the furniture salesman.
Yes. The guy with the unhealthy obsession with
Interesting
couches.
furniture. Yes.
So this schism is about who's going to be running for president in 2028. Who's going to be the next face of the party? Is it going to be Youngkin or is it going to be Vance? And Vance certainly seems to have the edge here because he is vice president. Because he is right next to the president.
Mm-hmm.
It would make sense that Trump would name him the heir apparent. Or name him the heir. He is currently the heir apparent.
Mm-hmm.
And getting rid of the president of UVA was, to some degree, exercising Trump doesn't have heirs apparent, not for his political ambition. Heirs apparent are a competition to his own power base. That is very true. Which is why I wonder who is actually going to be, is Vance going to be able to stay sucked up to Trump enough for Trump to feel comfortable leaving it to Vance? Is Youngkin... I think Youngkin is gambling on Trump and Vance losing political power.
Mm-hmm.
As VP, he would be the next in line when Trump dies.
Yeah.
But not as the next POTUS candidate. Not necessarily as the next POTUS candidate. It has been... It has been traditional... it's been traditional wisdom up until the most modern age of politics that the vice president will then go on to run for president.
Mm-hmm.
Although that has not been... Since Gore lost to Bush, that really hasn't been a thing.
True.
Last time I think it worked. Worked directly. Was Reagan to Bush.
Mm-hmm.
So my question though is, is Winsome Earl Seers gonna fall in line with the Trump base or with the Youngkin administration? As, Youngkin enters the end of his tenure,
Mm-hmm.
as as he has entered the end of his tenure. Now it is time for her politically to make noise about who she is. What she represents in order to battle Spamberger. However, I think Spamberger has an easier case to make that Winsome Earl Seers is just more of the same, whether it's Trump the same or Youngkin the same, it's more of the same.
Yeah.
Whereas Winsome Earl Seers has to, I don't know what she has to do, but what I see her doing already is trying to denigrate Spamberger's record, Spamberger in general.
Just
Yeah.
because her name has the word spam in it does not mean you have to spam it.
It's
Yes, you do.
it's an N. It's Spamberger, not spam. Spam,
What's wrong?
spam,
That
spam,
word-
spam, 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 spammity spam.
That
What do you
ruins my
mean
other
this
joke.
cheese shop has no cheese? Threw that in there for you, Maddie, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the... I think Winsome Earl Seers is going to stick with the MAGA base
Mm-hmm.
to try to procure the governorship.
I think you're right.
I don't see it working.
No.
Now, I am very biased because I don't want it to work. But I do think I see an erosion of the MAGA base. I don't feel safe going out and interviewing random people on the street about this.
Yeah.
But currently Spamberger is leading in the polls. Not by leaps and bounds, but by more than a couple of points.
Yeah.
So that is, that's Deadpan Dog whining outside the room, if y'all can hear that.
Yeah, they probably do have another group.
I guarantee the Cox, sorry, let me pronounce that correctly, because they are. The Cox have a third group to go live once MAGA falls apart. Yeah. Yes. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. And I'm willing to bet that we don't even know who the face of it is yet. It's going to have a new face. Mm-hmm. And it's going to have a face that, yes, they kicked off the Tea Party. That would be the first, then MAGA, and whatever this Third Reich is going to be, we don't know yet.
Right.
That just came out of my mouth before I could realize what I was about to say.
Uh-huh. Please see earlier statement about alphabet letters.
um, you know, I had some sympathy with the Tea Party. I could almost see where some of them were coming from about taxation, because it felt like the little guy was getting taxed to death. And that's because the little guy was getting taxed to death because corporate taxes were null. But that wasn't being explained to the everyday people, to the common people, to the people who were getting taxed. All they saw was taxes, taxes, taxes. They didn't even see that their taxes were coming from the people who were running on lower taxes. And that was where the Democrats and the left in general were messing up at that point was in messaging. Because they're complaining about taxes and we're going, but you need to pay your taxes. Taxes run everything. Everything we have is because taxes. What they were lacking in the messaging was your taxes should stay the same. It's this economic model of taxing you to pay off the corporations and the rich people so that they'll spend more money on you that is not working. It was, once that messaging started to fall apart, once the common misconception that Reaganomics was working dominated the paradigm, the message around the messaging around taxation was lost. Was an easy target for populist people to attack. It's not just about MAGA and Tea Party, it's also about the messaging. Whatever places podcasts will also be the big politic. Yes, it will. It will be the big political, I think we're going to need to see a new technology to see that next real big jump. Or we're looking at that next jump right now, which is doing this live stream where, we are a bit of an echo chamber and a political bubble. AI, yeah, it'll be AI. Yeah, it will. Although I hold out hope that the population will also still buy into sincerity and genuineness. Because, that's what we do here. We are sincerely, genuinely us. Although I already know that most of the music I make and most of the jokes that I write could easily be replaced by AI. Live streaming is too boutique and too open for dialogue, discourse, and pushback in the chats. Dang.
Honestly, I think what you're going to see more of is going to be things like under the desk news, where you've got a news channel that's being run by a single person maybe a team of 5 at most. And you're going to have the individual things. So you're going to have more of them, but because there's more of them, it's going to be way more diffused.
Oh, you mean like Network Entertainment News?
Kind of. So the
Knew we
live
were on the
stream's
cutting
gonna
edge
be-
somehow.
Yep.
They need total control over the messaging. Yeah, yes, Maddie, they do. They need total control over the messaging, and that's and that's why the left is still going to be working at a disadvantage. Because we don't, no matter what, we don't let any single person control all of the messaging. That's why town halls have been hilarious. The left doesn't get it. Yeah, the left doesn't get it. The left is, and I think they are willfully ignorant to it. They are, I think, or not willfully ignorant, but they are willful about their rejection of it. The messaging is the profit itself. The left doesn't understand that the profit isn't from advertising revenue. Messaging is the profit itself. They have to fully fund their own messaging apparatus. Yes. Yeah. Yes. They aren't. The left is trying to sell the message. The right has sold you a lifestyle with a subscription model. The left is still operating off of a public media model. Please support us.
Mm-hmm.
And we have not fully, we have not built our own apparatus. Our own juggernaut apparatus. That's really the key there. These monolithic juggernaut apparatus that the right uses for messaging, which is why everybody is always on the same message. And the message is profit. That's the other thing we're fighting against. Is our message is what is our message? Save the people. Save yourself. There's no, it doesn't appeal to that. It doesn't appeal to that very base nature of greed. Well, boy, has that made a dent. Let's see, we've got a couple of fun stories up before things get depressing there again.
Yeah.
Let us take a break real quick. Let me go grab that drink from the Kush Gang.
Right.
Give everybody the chance to run to the restroom if they need to. And we will be right back with the second half of our show.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for sticking around this far. See you again in a few. Hello, friends. Welcome back. We are back. Back from break. We have with us the Kush lemon lime, from the Kush gang. This will be our nice little treat here through the second half of the show. So, y'all remember those little drinks came in them little plastic barrels, little hugs with the foil top?
Yep.
Which is why I grew out my thumbnails. Started growing out my thumbnails in general. As a teenager, as a kid, just to get into this.
That makes sense.
This reminds me of those, of the line barrel. Which was one of my favorites. I liked both the lime and the blue raspberry when it came out. I remember when it came out, it was new. Like, I remember when blue raspberry as a concept hit the candy store shelves. And everything was blue raspberry. And I liked it because I liked blue. Blue flavored stuff.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
So, from Strange Days News. Okay, Florida, way to turn in another one. Chuck E. Cheese mascot mouse employee arrested for credit card fraud in Florida. Did we cover this when it happened? Did we try to cover this when it happened?
Well, when it happened just before you went on vacation.
Okay. Yeah.
So it happened in that week and a half period where things were going to Hades in a handbasket with OBS. So if we talked about it at all, it was briefly, and we didn't really get much done.
Okay. So, they arrested Chuck E. Cheese.
New details into the arrest of Chuck E. Cheese, or at least the man who was dressed up as one. It happened at a restaurant in Tallahassee.
Oh, you can't hear this.
From the villages.
No, I can't hear this.
Right.
Just a moment.
Hang on.
Haha. Sorry, guys. My bad. We'll start from the beginning there. You guys clicked on it?
Yep.
New details into the arrest of Chuck E. Cheese, or at least the man who was dressed up as one. It happened at a restaurant in Tallahassee.
But a family from the villages witnessed the entire thing while on vacation. As Fox 35's Randy Hildreth found out, it was a visit the kids will likely never forget.
Chuck E. Cheese got arrested.
The smile with which she delivered that line, the family will never forget. It's like, dude, is that's like right out of a horror movie thing right there. Like, wasn't that part of the point?
They will never forget.
I figured if nothing else, we needed this for a good laugh.
Man, this is being a good laugh so far.
It's been the talk of the Gegenheimer family for the last few days.
Chuck E. Cheese got arrested. Man, you lucky he was wearing that head when they arrested him. It was a black man in Florida. He did not stand a whole lot of chance.
I didn't read this article. I picked this article because of the kid. But dude committed credit card fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Lady was there for a kid's party, and she got charged like double, or she was getting charges after she left. And there was a whole thing where she called them, and she called the police, and they figured she is the one. Police didn't do this part. She's the one that figured out who it was that was using her credit card number.
Wow.
So she gets the information on who it is, what he looks like, tells the police, gets them involved. They go in there to get him. While they're in there going to get him, he is working the register at the time. And they come back outside and let him vanish off into a back room. And he comes out wearing the Chuck E. Cheese costume, hoping to hide from the police as just the mascot wandering around the restaurant at this point.
Dude. I mean...
They walked away and let him go into a back room and get dressed.
I'm just saying, like... Okay, let's unpack this for a second.
Yeah.
Let's just unpack this for a second. One, they didn't just take him in. Like,
no.
They let it... Mm-hmm. I wonder how much other evidence got destroyed in that minute.
Good
he had
question.
A getaway free card. Possibly there wasn't another exit to the room, so they felt safe in letting him go in the room.
Mm-hmm. If I'm remembering correctly, they went in, they verified that he was there. They talked to him briefly, and then I guess they went back outside so that they could call up their stuff on the computer outside and make sure for sure that they were arresting the right guy. Okay. But either way,
they should have left somebody with an eye on him. Yeah, like you don't just keep eyes on the guy. Now he had a getaway free card. Then he literally. I mean, there must have been a back door on that place, right?
Yeah. No,
and he chose the mouse costume.
Yep.
Boy, is this just a cavalcade of mistakes.
So, by the time they arrested him, there were at least 3 police cars out there. There is somewhere, there's a picture of him being arrested, and there's at least 3 different police cars available. And yes, they put the cuffs on Chuck E. Cheese himself and escorted him out. And then as kids watched from inside, they ripped his head off so they could stuff him in the patrol car.
Oh my god, they took off Chuck E. Cheese's head!
Yes. Except for, judging by that one kid's excitement, I don't think they were crying.
You know, they're different these days.
They are.
Although, you know, once you see Chuck E. Cheese get arrested, I mean, it's all pretty Ohio from there.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
man. Okay. That was...
I was listening to a different live stream like 2 days, 3 days after this happened, and they're laughing about it. And one of the moderators for the stream chimed in and said, "Yeah, you know that picture that shows the kids in the corner looking out the window? Those are my cousins."
Oh! Awesome. Awesome.
It's like, oh, really? You've got cousins in Florida.
Well, doesn't that say a lot there?
It was. I figured it would be worth a good laugh.
It is definitely been worth a good laugh. All right, so let us move on to science. Some science news. Science.
Yes, science.
Scientists discover crystal that breathes oxygen like lungs. Researchers developed a crystal that inhales and exhales oxygen like lungs. It stays stable under real-world conditions and can be reused many times, making it ideal for energy and electronic applications. This innovation could... blah, blah, blah. Okay.
We've got computers that have liquid cooling systems. So next up, we're going to have computers that only have liquid cooling systems, but they breathe too.
Right. Now, what
need
do
to go
they
water
mean
my
by
computer.
breathe, though? That is where I'm curious. Team of scientists from Korea and Japan have discovered a new type of crystal that can breathe, releasing and absorbing oxygen repeatedly at relatively low temperatures. This unique ability would transform the way we develop clean energy technology. Okay. So, is a special kind of metal oxide, strontium, iron, and cobalt. What makes it extraordinary is that it can release the oxygen when heated in a simple gas environment and then take it back in, all without falling apart. So you heat it, it lets go of its oxygen. That's why it's a metal oxide. It's been oxidized.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
heat
then
it,
cools down.
and it sucks it back in.
Yep.
Well, we do have a regular lurker who would know a lot more about this.
But she's not lurking currently,
Who's
which is
that?
a shame.
Oh, just me.
Oh.
You may not necessarily know the scientific stuff, but getting to tell her that there's an entire scientific paper written about her would be awesome.
I'm there now. A crystal that breathes oxygen.
All right. I don't use this one often on my friends, but I'm going to ask you. You suffer from SLOW?
SLOW?
Yes.
Hold on. I'll catch up with you in a second.
I believe that's an affirmative, dear.
All right. This is interesting. Like lungs should not be in this. Because this is not at all like lungs. Lungs provide a gas transformative process.
Not about transforming. It's definitely a gas exchange.
Gas exchange. In that exchange, they are transforming the gas. They are.
No. The transformation happens further in the body. The lungs are just the membrane through which it gets transferred in and out.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. No, I get what you're saying. But the point being that there is still this. Okay, I guess I get what you're saying. These crystals could be connected to something that does an oxygen nitrogen exchange. Oxygen. Yeah, oxygen nitrogen, isn't it?
So, they say that they release when they're heated.
Carbon. Yeah, that's what.
That's backwards.
Right?
Those things oxidize when they're heated.
Right. It requires energy to.
Oh, that's not healthy. Oh, jeez.
What?
Wait, does that mean that making the oxidative the oxidated states releases energy? The act of
it takes in energy and releases the oxygen. Usually, the act of something binding with oxygen is
releases energy.
Reaction.
Right. Exothermic.
So
this is more endothermic, yes.
This is an endothermic oxidative reaction. No wonder it has. Oh, and it happens. This all happens at relatively low temperatures still.
So this is just. Oh. You know those powders that you toss into fires to get sparkly and then different colors? You add this into that powder mix and you end up with a much larger burst of fire when it happens. Because it infuses the reaction with a lot more oxygen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which if you had, say, some sort of piston mechanism with this, then it would get shoved down into a cold thing. It would absorb oxygen. It would raise up. It would fire and go back down again. I would necessarily want that in the car. But if you had it in something like an electric vehicle, or some other thing where you just need that extra burst of oxygen for stuff to go faster, or if you're using that burst to drive the rest of the machine so that it produces energy, like some sort of weird system with an alternator, I could see that working.
Certainly fuel cells.
Mm-hmm. Well, it all depends on the volume of oxygen and volume of the crystal itself.
True.
The amount of energy needed for the exchange, what temperatures it functions at,
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of which are, well, I don't know about all of which, but some of this is covered in the article.
Yeah.
But that's all
just
details
not all the
at
secrets.
This point. Right.
Yeah. So mostly, they're writing about a crystal that breathes oxygen.
Breathes oxygen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, the fact that it needs something external to the system to make it work. I think that is the other thing about the breathes oxygen that is a misnomer.
Lungs need something external to make them work.
Yes, but you don't need something external to the human to make them work. And that's what I mean when I say the system.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, you could say connect the crystal to a battery and place it in oxygen and call the lungs or the crystal in the battery the system.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess you could also at that point say put a blowtorch up against it and just leave the blowtorch on. But at that point, you need something external to the blowtorch and the rock to change the blowtorch from off to on. There becomes this external, even if you divorce the external force of the starting point from the rest of it, you still need something external to make it work. Like,
I think that depending on the system they build, they'll probably be able to more accurately call them lungs. But currently, you are correct.
yeah. The way they worded it feels like you should be able to set this self-contained crystal down and watch it, pull oxygen in and then push it out, and pull it in and push it out.
Well, technically you could just leave it out in the sun.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And with the night cycle, it would breathe.
That's fair. Point
My
taken.
question is,
and that sunlight doesn't really. We can't include sunlight necessarily as external to the system because then plants don't count.
exactly.
And plants breathe.
Yep. My question, thinking about things like, say, deep sea uses, you've got low temperature. You've got oxygen in the water. So
I see. You take these depleted crystals, stick them out in the water, they suck the oxygen out. Then,
are they yeah.
Then you put them into your tank with a low heat in the tank somehow, like a heating coil load, and they just let go of the oxygen.
Honestly, more along the lines, I'm thinking of something like a deep sea habitat.
Or that. I mean, if I can imagine it into an individual's breathing apparatus, of course you can probably scale it somehow.
But if it's a deep sea habitat, you don't need to have necessarily a heater in the tank. Just bringing it inside would release the oxygen.
Right.
I mean, you couldn't necessarily use this in space.
Because there isn't enough oxygen to gather.
Right.
The free-floating free radical oxygens in space are going to be small, much further apart.
But there's enough oxygen in ocean water.
Easily.
As long as the salt doesn't mess with it.
That's a good question. Although, I mean, there's enough... There's enough ways to get the salt out of the water. Of course, at that point, once you're getting the salt out of the water, you're also getting the oxygen out of the water.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, that was a bizarre, fun little stroll down Science Lane.
Right.
And I don't know about for other people, but for me, this feels like good news. Because this guy, I was a little old to be the target audience of the Family Values tour. But I was in the age range they were shooting for. You know, it was Korn and Limp Bizkit and some other people, and Korn had some issues. There are some things wrong with them, and there are some very problematic things with Jonathan Davis. Wait, is that his name? Yeah, that's his name. But dude, I just could not. There was nothing about Fred Durst I liked. Nothing about that dude I liked at all. It hurt my soul when I saw metal going in that direction. But then, you know, there were bands like System of a Down and Linkin Park that gave me hope again. So
Fair.
But this guy, James Dodson, he was the Family Values guy that was just the bane of my existence. I mean, he was against everything I was. Everything I stood for, everything I was, everything about me, he was against. And he did everything he could to make everybody's life harder who was not exactly like him. This man, he was even the one who convinced the religious right to stick with Trump. Even if Trump is some sort of godless heathen. Oh wait, he is a godless heathen. Even though Trump is some sort of godless heathen, the religious right is sticking with him to win the culture war. Because of this guy.
All right. Are you familiar with what a purity marriage is?
Go ahead and enlighten us.
Something that he made up, created, pushed on people. But the idea being that once your daughter has turned a certain age, the father, quote unquote, marries her, and he is in charge of her purity until she marries for real.
Yeah.
Done generally between the ages of 13 and 16. And most frequently the symbol is, they do what has all the trappings of a real wedding with promises and stuff, and the dad involved gives the daughter a locket that she wears, and he keeps the key to that he then gives her future husband.
Oh, gross. Oh, that's so disgusting.
So, yeah,
Oh, that's...
pushing the idea that it's okay to at least fake marry a 13, 14-year-old, let alone your own child.
Right. And then ownership over her purity.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So yeah, I have no problem believing that he thought someone that is, it has acknowledged his views on harassing, assaulting, and other things, people that are still children, he would totally support.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was a detestable man.
Yes.
He is no longer amongst us. Although the damage that has been done and will continue to be felt it's out there.
The other big one that has always ticked me off is he's also the originator of staying together for the kids.
Stay together for the kids. Oh, that
Staying
one.
in a broken, abusive relationship because divorce is so hideous that it will damage the kids further, even though watching one partner be beaten and everything else couldn't possibly be damaging in the least.
Right? Or
doesn't matter which partner it is either.
Or even more innocuous, just staying in an unhappy relationship that makes both partners unhappy, even if it's not abusive or, but then staying together for the kids puts the weight of that unhappiness on the kid. Like, oh yeah, we're both living a miserable life because we love you. It's like, oh, well, maybe don't love me so much and go be happy. I can love myself and take care of it. Jeez. There is a bit of... It doesn't have to be the worst case scenario.
No. If you're at the point where you can't say anything nice to the other person and all you're doing is sniping at each other nastily, that's your reason, that's your point where you leave. Because you're not helping.
I argue that that's past the point. That's past the point of leaving. Like,
you're correct. You are correct. But the problem is this whole thing that he's been pushing since the 80s is so well entrenched that it's hard to break.
Right.
And at least giving that as a point of leave now is something most people can understand, that this is harming my child.
Right.
They won't see anything else as harming the child, but they'll see the constant sniping and understand that is something that harms the child.
You hope they'll see it and understand. They may not.
Oh, yeah, no. You are correct.
This is also some deeply ingrained mindset stuff here. I mean, not just him, but what what this man sort of represented in a lot of ways was the culmination, maybe even apex, of thousands of years of social training.
Yes.
People being trained to people being trained to continue on in this way, this I'm looking for a way to say it without indicting Christianity and patriarchy, but patriarchal Christian mindset.
Honestly, you could just leave it as the patriarchal mindset.
I think we have to add Christian there partially because of who he is, and partially because a lot of the patriarchal mindset has built on the Christian mindset, has used Christianity to build itself.
Yeah, fair enough.
I want to be careful because I don't want to indict Christians per se. I just also can't leave Christianity without, I can't let it not have to deal with its part.
Honestly, if you are a Christian, then you admit that it's done its part in its harm. Because that's one of the tenets for being a Christian is admitting you've done wrong.
Okay, see, I worry that you're using a no true Scotsman argument here.
What?
No true Scotsman puts sugar in his porridge.
No.
No real Christian. I mean, I agree that according to its own internal set of rules, they are violating that that set of mores. Thank you for still being here, Chris. Much love.
I would say the difference is with the no true Scotsman. That is not necessarily a written or it's an ambiguous thing. Versus if you are saying that you are part of something, and you can look at the rules that are set for that particular thing, then either you're following those rules,
right?
You admit that they exist, or you're not.
You're saying
if you're
internal
not,
consistency. However, I argue that the internal the rules are inconsistent. So you can argue that you are adhering, and that's part of the insidiousness of Christianity, is the rules are inconsistent. You could say,
but they're not. If you are a Christian, that means you are a follower of Christ specifically.
Okay.
If you're a follower of Christ, you're supposed to be following his specific rules that he laid out.
Okay.
Which his biggest ones are love everyone, treat them as you would have yourself treated, and own up to your mistakes effectively. Ask for forgiveness. Those are your big core things. His big thing was doing away with everything that was written in the Old Testament. All of that is supposed to have been done away with by his coming and his being Christ.
Okay.
That is why, among other things, Christians are not held to the same dietary requirements
as Catholics.
As
Catholics and Jews. Catholics are Christians. They're just...
They have added their own extra rules.
But now, then my question is, whose interpretation of Christ's rules? Who set that interpretation?
That's a good question. Depends on which Bible version you're reading.
So, are those rules consistent?
The main ones,
Are they
yeah.
internally consistent across all interpretations?
No, because you've got humans involved.
Right.
The main core things are consistent. But
Those across all
the
interpretations.
The schisms that have happened have added extra rules to change how that is specifically supposed to be interpreted. But at the core of each one, it is supposed to be, and you can ask pretty much any Christian, are you supposed to love one another? Did Jesus tell you to love one another?
Okay. Did Jesus tell you to love everyone or only your brother and neighbor?
Exactly.
Well, no, that's a question. That's my question now to you.
He told us to love everyone.
Okay. Now, are you gonna get now is my interpretive, like, are you gonna get that same answer from every Christian you ask?
That's your thing. That's your what interpretation question you've got.
Right.
Yes.
So, some people who call themselves true Christians, because in their interpretation they're only supposed to love their brother and their neighbor.
Who is your neighbor?
That's left up to the individual to decide.
Who is your brother? Because Jesus said, all men are my brother.
Okay.
All women are my.
All right.
We are all children of God. So going by that, you're supposed to love everyone.
Even people who reject.
That's where the forgiveness part comes in. If they are different and they reject your ideas, you forgive them and let them be as they are. Try to help save them if necessary, but forgive them their faults.
And let them do their own thing.
Again, I this one seems heavily interpreted.
How many different interpretations are there of any religion?
Yeah.
I agreed. I'm just saying that I think that there are people who, and I agree with you guys on this. These people who even proselytize really aren't true Christians. Most Christians aren't true Christians. As an outsider, I see a lot of inconsistencies in their behaviors, and I'm like, oh, you are so not a Christian, are you? My God, you call yourself one? Ooh. But
I think the biggest thing is
I want to point out that in their own minds, there aren't these inconsistencies.
Except for there are. Those inconsistencies are in their own minds too, because they will sit and argue blue in the face that the Southern Baptists have it right over the Catholics, who have it right over the Episcopals.
That's what I mean. They don't see these inconsistencies as inconsistencies.
They do. They see it as I am right and you are wrong, which means that it is inconsistent. What you're saying is wrong, so therefore...
No. Internal inconsistencies. They don't see the internal inconsistencies in what they're saying. They don't see that this is, that some of this is about perspective. They don't, which is why they view it in right and wrong. Why there is, and why they call themselves true Christians and anyone else not. That's why they're not lying when they say, I'm a true Christian. Even if, in your view and my view, they really are lying to themselves about being a true Christian. To them, they're not.
This also brings the added thing on forgiveness, which is just because they are not acting correctly now does not mean they cannot make amends later.
True.
And do better.
The forgiveness, I argue, for them, is that God will forgive those that deserve forgiving. Otherwise, forgiveness is not deserved.
That was the entire reason, that's the entire tenet behind Jesus, is because we did not deserve forgiving.
I argue that this is due to a misreading of the. I mean, like, yeah, I agree with you. Again, agree with you. Me personally, agree with you. I argue that the people that don't see that read the passages differently.
Oh yeah.
That their reading does not for them contain an internal inconsistency.
Okay.
That their internal canon is maintained because the people that they are not forgiving, the differences make those other people not their neighbor and not their brother. They are other.
Mm-hmm.
They are not human. They're subhuman. They're not as much as good, as equal as the tribe, as the self, as the. Therefore, we do not need to forgive them. God will forgive them. Even if God does not accept them and sends them to hell, God will love them and forgive them. That we may not have to.
I don't disagree that there are people reading it that way.
Yeah.
And that there are people treating it that way.
Yes.
I will say that this is where lack of teaching people how to think critically about all of the elements in their life plays a part.
This is where I argue that lack of moral and ethical fiber in the part of church leaders has fallen apart.
Oh yes.
This is
supposed to be a church leader that we were talking about. He was supposed to be, and he went down the road of marry your daughter so that she stays pure.
And hate others. Hate those that are unlike you. There were not internal inconsistencies for him. He does not see himself as not a true Christian. Did not see himself as not a true Christian.
I'm sorry, I lost the through line of this argument about 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
That's okay. Kat and I still got it. I'm arguing. What I'm saying is that this guy, this Dodson jerk, this bad human being, thinks he did all the right things and is going to heaven for his behavior, believing that, even unto his death, believing that he was a true Christian, though he spread hate and unethical and immoral messages.
Mm-hmm.
I'm arguing that in his mind, he did the right thing. And unfortunately, by my estimation of the afterlife, he goes to his heaven. He lived his life by his dharma, by his own internal consistencies. And he made his own heaven, and he will go there. Except for also by my own beliefs. His soul is being very painfully shredded by the transdimensional tick god that sucks all of the power out of people like him and horrifically shreds them as it feeds on them to...
All right.
Sorry, what was that?
I was going to say is his relationship with God and what he believed is his problem.
Mm-hmm.
Let me finish. It's his problem. But he is also hedged in by what was supposedly written, which includes such passages as, whatever you do to the least of these, you have done for me. And evil that is done in my name is still evil. So, refusing to acknowledge what you're doing is evil does not change its nature. While you're not supposed to go around judging those that are not Christians for not holding your standards, as a Christian, you're supposed to be held accountable by others of your faith. And you're supposed to respect when they point out that you're doing wrong. Just because either that didn't happen or he held to what he believed being a true Christian was, doesn't change the fact that most people can look at the things that he did and the havoc it caused and say, that was a bad idea. Did you apologize for that? And since he is believing that he did everything correct, he has no reason to apologize, which means he's not going where he thinks he's going. Just because you have lived accordingly, you think, if you do not stop and take the critical action of looking around and saying, does this match up with what I'm teaching? I'm hearing everybody saying this is not matching up to what I was taught. Doesn't mean you still get your get out of jail free card.
I like that interpretation. I like that interpretation a lot better than my interpretation of, because he has no internal inconsistencies, he gets to make his own heaven.
That is one of the things that you will hear a lot of people that don't actually read the whole verse. They'll point at you and say, you're not supposed to judge me. It's like you didn't read the whole verse.
I'm only not supposed to judge you if you're not Christian.
I'm not necessarily supposed to judge your relationship with God, but I can judge the fruit of your labors. I can judge the fruit of your actions and say, hey, dude, you're over here doing this and you've got toxic waste spilling everywhere. You need to clean up your act. This is not okay. I can't make you do it.
But you're allowed to call it out and shame.
Yeah. You're supposed to call it out. And a lot of people get hung up on the whole, don't point out the sty in your neighbor's eye without first removing the log from your own. It's like, that's rude. Be aware that you are not perfect before you start calling out what someone else is doing.
However,
but call it out.
Right. Like, if we were all perfect enough to call out others' imperfections, then no one would have imperfections.
Right. The point is, you're supposed to be working on yourself while helping others work on themselves.
Now, I do not necessarily agree with all of the methods by which
Yeah.
Christ alone says to do this. I personally, you know, I don't know. There's some parts of it that seem a little like overly be your brother's keeper.
Except for it's not supposed to be. It really and truly. Just
Yeah.
reading what is written and ignoring any denominational interpretations.
Yeah. I also, though, I mean, it really is. Again, as an outsider, like. As an outsider, yeah, some of the moral and ethical teachings are great. Some of them are. Well, I don't know what ones. As a modern outsider, they've all been mixed with the Old Testament, you know, have no God before me, kill all the witches, you know, this very fire and brimstone Old Testament God. So
a fire and brimstone Old Testament God that you had political people doing that translation. And that if you go back and get proper translations of things that are not involving the political, it changes things.
Yeah, I wonder why it's called the King James Version.
Damn straight.
Well, I mean, there's that, but also that fire and brimstone God still did not like people like me. Like, I would have been unrepentantly not Christian, which would have put me on the chopping block for that Old Testament God.
No.
I mean, that's where a lot of the justifications for killing pagans came from.
Right.
Being a pagan, that puts me on that chopping block.
Except for what was translated for King James specifically as "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live" was actually effectively "Thou shalt not." What was it? The word that they used for witch was not general witch. The word that they used meant specifically someone that deals with raising the dead. Everybody else was cool.
Except for necromancers?
Everybody was fine, but necromancers.
That sounds familiar.
Except that also still... I mean, they may say raising the dead, but... You can't just cut out a single school of magic like that. Like, if you cut out necromancers, you don't get healing spells. You know, you can't just say, oh, don't deal with people who deal with the dead, or raise the dead, or talk to the dead. It's like...
You're right, and that
could be any of us.
That's a translation they're still working on, and I suspect when they're done, what it's actually going to come out to is don't allow people that defile the dead exist.
Don't
Less
okay.
necromancer and more necro other stuff.
Not necromancer, Mancer, but romancer,
Yeah.
Roman.
Right.
Yeah.
I suspect once they're done doing translation work, that's what that's going to come to. Another one that gets pointed to a lot is Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah. Psalms has some okay poems. King James had a boyfriend they would hold hands and make out in public. Ooh. No
Yes.
vampires. Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, that was
But they weren't destroyed for what they were doing there.
They were destroyed for violating their own rules of hospitality and forcing themselves upon others.
Yep. It wasn't a case of, oh, we've got guys with guys and girls with girls. It's the fact that the person, the way hospitality was done, guests in the house were safe, and they chose to violate that and try to force themselves on guests of people, even though they were provided alternatives, and that's what caused the destruction. Not following their own rules. A great deal of things can be broken down to you are a society that has made your own rules and now you're not following them, and you're not
consequences.
You're not following them to the point where you're encroaching upon my people, so now there are consequences.
That's fair. I mean, again, as an outsider, as someone it's hard for me to I guess again, this is why I don't want to indict Christians, but there are, as a whole, Christianity, and not necessarily internally consistent Christianity, but Christianity as it is, as it exists in the world.
As it exists in, especially in certain denominations where they cherry pick verses, do not acknowledge that the rest of the verse exists or what it's meant to say. Yeah.
And I would like to point out that is the majority of Christians. Majority of people who call themselves a Christian are in that type of Christianity.
You keep saying that you don't want to indict Christians, which, all right, as someone that is not a Christian, that is a very fair thing to say, because you're following Christian rules with that. I'm not your people. I can't point fingers at you because you're not following them.
I also don't want to point fingers at people today for what happened to people hundreds of years ago. It's not like...
We're not. You're pointing fingers at people today for not following the rules that they say they are today.
Yes.
For setting in motion things that are not okay.
Yes, and for doing continued harm. Not necessarily to just religious outsiders now, but to...
No, they're doing harm to everybody. They have always done harm to everybody. Christians were called to spread the gospel. They were not called to come in with guns and swords and hatchets and beat the gospel into people, or do away with them if they won't accept it.
I find the very nature of spreading the gospel to be like that's where That's where it starts to be a problem for me. I do not. If you come to share,
Mm-hmm.
that is fine. But to spread is not.
Mm-hmm.
There is a distinct note of assimilation there.
That's honestly another spot where I think translators in the future are going to find that that's what was said and not how it was translated.
That's fair. But the behavior has been, and since the beginning it has been, spread the gospel, spread our beliefs, make more of us. And I argue that in the beginning that was because it was a tiny little cult. And if you did not try to spread your tiny little cult beliefs, both through breeding and through proselytization, your tiny little cult is going to disappear.
I can see that.
However, that quickly turned into a consumer mindset.
Oh, yeah.
That quickly became consume all others and spread yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is the moment where I believe that the great transdimensional tick god took over for what was before that basically a cult of light. You know, this very a cult to a god of light. You know, the Zoroastrian beginnings of Christianity. It was when the command to spread coupled with the command to consume that the transdimensional tick joined the Christian God.
Very possibly. But I think that that's probably a discussion for another time.
Oh, probably.
Especially since it's like 2 o'clock now.
Oh, yeah, and we still haven't talked about famous things that happened today, this day in history.
Yes.
Eruption of Vesuvius, Battle of Florence.
Yep.
William Wallace, executed. I laid in his gory bed. Meanwhile, my family continued to rule Scotland.
Okay.
That's where the Stewards and later the Stuarts came from, were the Bruces.
Okay.
Oh, Du Bois arrives in Hispaniola. Ha 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 ha. Christopher Columbus got arrested.
Yep.
Cartier's third voyage, huh?
What was Columbus arrested for?
Arrived in the Indies since former Governor Chris Columbus backed his... I think for debts. I think he was a debtor.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Huh. Um... In 1793, the French Revolution National Convention adopts the levée en masse, conscripting all able-bodied men between 18 and 25 for military service. Napoleon.
Mm-hmm.
How many years later? That's 6 years later. Napoleon leaves Egypt. Wars took a very long time back then. Oh, hey, the Treaty of Prague ends the Austro-Prussian War.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say that was progress?
Ow.
I didn't say it was good.
I'm not saying it's bad.
Mm.
Race riot in Houston, Texas in 1917. Gasoline Alley comic strip premieres in Chicago Tribune. Wasn't that something we talked about recently?
Mm.
Do not recall it.
I think so.
1933, Mahatma Gandhi released from Indian jail following hunger strike.
Mm-hmm.
Feller's first game. Which feller are they talking about?
Mm.
The feller on the Indians. Well, aren't there a bunch of fellers on the Indians? No, there's one feller on the Indians. Then how do they have a whole team? Okay, they've got one feller pitching. That became part of one of the... That was... Yeah, he was in one of the Abbott and Costello Who's on First bits. You can't take it with you? Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 1946, premiere of The Big Sleep. So which ones were you, which ones do you think I should,
Well, what I put in the chat were a couple of highlights I thought were cute, but they weren't necessary. That makes sense. I did not put that Lennon saw a UFO.
It feels like this was a pretty auspicious day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. 1988. Oh, wow. Oh, 96. Osama bin Laden issues a message.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Bonds 400 double in 98.
Mm-hmm.
And Hurricane Katrina formed over the Bahamas in 2005.
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Women's USA basketball gold. Oh, Gaddafi overthrown. In 2011, I remember that.
Oh, was it go up just a little bit? I want to say it's up a little bit. Nope, nope, no, other direction. 2010 was the earthquake.
Nope. 2011. 5.8 earthquake occurs in Mineral, Virginia. I remember what I was doing at the time. I was working on my sister's house. And the earthquake hit, and I ran outside and jumped on this concrete slab. And it felt as if I was surfing the ground. Like, because the concrete slab wasn't actually buckling or shifting. Like, it stayed, but it was, and
it wasn't buckling, but it was buckling.
Yeah. I was married at the time. I'm trying to remember what Little Bear was doing. I know she was at work somewhere else. I think it was in Charlottesville. But I'm not sure. Wow. That was today, huh? Oh, the Wagner Group plane crash.
Yep.
Yep, okay. Well, today in history...
Sounds like an operatic incident.
Sounds like what?
An operatic incident.
Oh, the plane crash? That was the Wagner, Wagner Group plane crash. No, that was the Yegvedev. That was the ultimate defenestration. That's how you knew that Putin really loved that man. Because that's pretty much the highest window you're going to find to throw somebody out of. And as we know, in Russia, the higher the window you get thrown out of, the more important you were.
We do have the International Space Station.
You're right. You're right. How's he gonna get Trump up there?
I just realized planet Earth has the absolute most insane border control. Things really heat up on re-entry.
The heat is on. I argue that that's not our insane border control. I think our insane global border control is that cloud of crap that we're leaving in orbit around our planet.
Yeah.
Starlink. Well, all right, friends. Thank you for joining us. I think we have reached the end of the episode. I am more than halfway through a third joint, so I think we've been going for a minute.
We have. And, we haven't had a good chance to argue in a bit, so it was kind of needed.
It was. Oh, it felt good. Having well considered debate is nice. It is, it keeps me sharp. I feel like just being able to exchange ideas safely like this has been good for us. It's something we need on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Which is, why taking a couple of weeks off has been a little rough, but we're back. Mm-hmm. We're back, folks.
We are back.
So, and welcome back to everybody. We're in ad break, so I'll ad-lib for a few minutes before I say our goodbyes.
You're in ad break, so you're going to ad-lib?
Ad break, so I'll ad-lib. See, that's that is it exactly.
Where's my raid button?
Yes, well, okay.
Looks like someone wants to bring it into this pretty quick.
Oh?
What?
I do need to use the potty, so I figure if I do this now.
I'm about there too. Also, let me start setting up for raiding out. Thank you everybody for being here. It has been a delight. It is a delight to be back. And we will try to get the weekly or the daily marketplace episodes. We'll try to get that together. I'm gonna try and start them at 6. No promises. Stick around for the raid. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Darth Dragonis. Thank you, Maddie Holmes. Thank you, Chris in the 386. And that's everybody, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
We've got some lurkers been hanging around, or at least a lurker.
Thank you, lurkers. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Stick around for the raid, and now is the time on the show when I say, as they say around here, 2 up, 2 down, VA, double deuces. We're out, y'all.
He's more famous than me, and then called me across the room. And as I explained in the book, the walk across the room probably took me 5 strides. It seemed like a half hour. And my wife has described to friends seeing that, and she's known me since I was 19. She said, "That's Jim's oak face." And I'm walking forward, and I'm just thinking, there's no way I'm hugging this guy. That is not going to happen. And so I reach out my hand to keep it in front of me to make it a handshake. And he grabs my hand and he pulls in and down. He's going for the hug. And so I thought, I'm going to resist this. Unless he's a lot stronger than he appears, he's not going to be able to get me to hug him. And so I tightened my whole core and I stiffened up, and he didn't get the hug. He couldn't pull me in close enough. But I actually got something worse. He pulled me down as far as he could, and then he put his lips by my right ear, which obscured them from the camera. And what he said was, "I really look forward to working with you." But of course, the whole world, including my wife and children, saw Donald Trump kiss me. There was no kiss, but that's what it looked like. Far worse than a hug. And then I pull back, and he invites me to stay with them up on this, at the front of the room, and I waved it off, trying to signal, I'm not worthy. And in my head, I'm thinking, I'm not suicidal. pedal, and I go back to my curtain, and then when this thing's over, I pretend I'm getting on the end of the line after the press leaves to get a picture of the president, and I slip out to the green room. And on my way out, I hear the score to the football game I was taping, so it was a complete disaster.
So, I'm going to be honest about what this reminds me of. As a woman, this reminds me of when somebody who is powerful inappropriately gives you a hug and you don't know what to do. It seems inappropriate to say something about it at that moment. You don't want to read more into it than is there, but you don't know what to do, and it's incredibly awkward and uncomfortable, and you wish it never happened. Then it also reminds me of like you walk into a room and it's like it's dinner for two. You're going to be alone with the guy. I don't know if that has any resonance for you.
It does. I didn't, because I'm maybe not as reflective as I need to be, I didn't see that immediately, but my wife and daughters, and then some people I saw in commentary online, saw exactly what you saw, which is Comey just